A pleasure to meet all at last, and welcome back once again to HJN Season 4, where we once again have a number of things worth talking about. So, because I had talked about that I will do a few more subjects before the end of the season truly comes by, that's pretty much what we'll be doing here. For the next choice, I decided to go along with Telegraphs from number 2654, because after all, what some people might not realize is that before the phone was even invented, there of course was the unique idea of electric telegraphy. As in, the ability to send messages to each other via the specific Morse code affiliation that's commonly associated with what is known as the telegraph. The telegraph, of course, was first invented in the early 19th century and first became popular and well known when the first ever message that was sent via telegraph showed up in Ohio from Washington, D.C. in 1844. It is simply known as "What hath God wrought." This small message, while not so great as a starting point, was still the reason why the pioneering days of intercommunication between people from long distances was first put together. If it wasn't for that message in 1844, 171 years later, we'd likely be in a different world. Although, coupled with the fact that the last 10 years had still been a pretty big point for the fact that communication between one another, whether it can be done from one part of the world or otherwise, it's typically done via smartphones. That's technically how it's all rolled together. And the fact that computers can do the same sort of thing as well, if of course it comes with its own webcam. There of course were times when people would buy webcams separately and also work with specific applications. You're familiar with Skype, for instance? Well, this was at the time one of the first major instances of chatting with people on a computer or phone. And to be fair, technology had come a long way. Telegraphs, of course, were all over the country. And a lot of times, they were just simple wooden structures with wiring stretched in between. While today you can find a good amount of telegraphs still set up after all these years, the wires, of course, were mainly cut. And that's because a lot of times the old technology with the telegraphs, as well as various other old tech, had been replaced with more modernized computer systems and radio communications. So a lot of these have become a lot more practical as well as more reliable in that sense, in which that telegraphs would unfortunately be outsourced as a bit of an outdated tech. In the same regard as to how we have come a long way since the records first started showing up, cassettes, CDs, and nowadays most of us just use the internet as a means to download music. So, like I've said, we have come a long way since that very point in time. But, with many people out there responsible for the likes of telegraphs, phones, and all other old communication, were it not for such people like Alexander Graham Bell, and well, a lot of these things probably would not have become revolutionary. And while today, they are practically at the peak of their popularity. But such devices out there, like smartphones, it's probably true that a couple of drawbacks are set upon that completely prevent it from becoming the perfect new technology. And while we can't exactly be at a point where things before the smartphone were around, it's fair to say that there are some instances where some people might want to avoid smartphones, and we could see a couple reasons why. The increase in EMF radiation, oof, that especially is a bad sign. In any case though, this pretty much covers another piece of HJN. I'll be back tomorrow with more subjects to come, and if you want to see more, go down to my channel, then make sure to like, subscribe, comment, follow me wherever you can find me, and stay on the Hollywood side.